as game one of the NLCS. Phillies and Padres in San Diego. Padres coming off the huge win over the Dodgers. What can we expect from them in the NLCS? ESPN analyst Jessica Mendoza and Buster Olney.
They'll continue to play with confidence that they, on paper, I think might be the better team because they got Juan Soto going now. They have that excellent rotation. Manny Machado playing well. And I do think playing San Diego, that's a home field advantage.
I mean, it's hard because I like that Phillies offense. I mean, especially now that they've come to life. Yes, and, you know, it's what's been talked about throughout the season for the Phillies of, okay, not a great bullpen, but this lineup can really carry a team, and then the Phillies is starting to come. So when I think about the Padres in the series, I mean, it's a fun matchup, but it's a lot of stars that are coming to life that weren't in the regular season.
We'll get more to the Phillies, but I also want to touch on Josh Hader. Obviously, he was an acquisition at the trade deadline, and he has been, at least right now, he's been exactly what they've needed him to be.
Well, and that's because they figured out when he can be at his best, and that is to rest him more often. When he first joined the Padres, he was getting knocked around, and then there were conversations between the Brewers and the Padres staff, and, hey, what's best for Hader? Hader got involved in those talks. They began to give him regular rest, and he began to pitch a lot better, and it makes sense. He's been dominant in his postseason.
And that's the difference, too, in this series. I mean, Dodgers and Padres. What happened with the Dodgers and their closer? He didn't even make the postseason roster.
Right.
The trade that they went and got in the offseason with Craig Kimbrell turned out the exact opposite. And Padres made the perfect move and get Josh Hader.
Padres still alive. Buster mentioning Juan Soto getting going now. What's he meant? Earlier on ESPN Radio, Darren Smith from San Diego Sports 760.
I think he's meant more in terms of just getting him, being aggressive, committing an awful lot of capital prospect, more valuable than he probably has been on the field, if I'm being honest. I mean, he's not been terrible, but he's not really had any sort of moments that you look and say, hey, wow, okay, a Juan Soto moment, there it is. You know, he hadn't had that moment like what we saw from the World Series a couple of years ago where he easily could have been the World Series MVP. It's been a little bit of a letdown, but I still think it's the idea that the Padres were pushing in to get this player described as a generational talent, to have him for a postseason run this year, to have him again next year, and then potentially the year after that. I don't know that we've not seen the best version of Juan Soto.
Padres hosting the Phillies for the NLCS. What are the Phillies feeling being in the NLCS? Their manager, Rob Thompson.
Pretty fantastic, really. I mean, you know, as I've said many times, we came out of spring training and we knew we had a real good ball club. So being here doesn't really surprise me based on the club we thought we had come out of spring training. But we got off to a slow start and it kind of snowballed a little bit. And I think the club lost their confidence a little bit. And then in May, we really had a tough schedule. And then in June, we started turning it on and got hot, stayed hot. Confidence grew back into the team. And they've rolled right through it. So it's been pretty good. And am I surprised that we're here? No, but based on the start of the season, maybe a little bit, yeah.
Padres, Phillies, game one Tuesday. Our coverage on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, 7:30 Eastern time. Right now, Sports Center all night. ESPN Radio. As for Monday's top sounds, let's say hello to Mark Robbins.
Number 3.
Hello there, Jay. We're going to get started with a rookie's Denver debut, Greg Dulcich. And he's going to remember this for quite some time on 850 KOA in Denver.
Wilson steps up, floats to a wide-open receiver, gets it to 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Greg Dulcich! How about a welcome to the NFL drive for the rookie out of UCLA?
Number 2.
Our second play is what leads into our top sound of the night. Number 2 is tough for Dean Leonard to handle. Literally, is heard on ESPN.
Scott hits it. Hangs it high. It's short. And
good hit.
Loose ball. No signal yet. And it belongs to the Chargers.
Number 1.
Our top play features the Chargers kicker Dustin Hopkins, injured quad and all. Heard on 98.7 in Los Angeles.
Snap, hold, kick is up, and it is good! Chargers win! 39 yards, MVP, Dustin Hopkins in this contest.
Hopkins kicking 4 field goals, including the 39-yard game winner on an injured leg, his quarterback, Justin Herbert.
He's tough, and that's all you can say about him. For him to go out there and play and put up with some pain like that, it's great to see from him.
Chargers go to 4-2, tied with the Chiefs at the top of the AFC West. It's Tuesday, October 18th, birthday of Brittany Griner. She turns 32 today, sitting in a prison in Russia. A Russian official saying in an interview over the weekend that her situation is not a top priority for Vladimir Putin. We have action here on ESPN Radio today. Game 5 for the Yankees Guardians. Game 1 for the Padres and Phillies series. Game 1 of the season for the Warriors as they host the Lakers. And what happened to the Broncos last night? Key J and Max have reaction next. I'm Jay Reynolds. Back tomorrow with SportsCenter all night. It's ESPN Radio.
Hey there, I'm Julie Foudy alongside Lynn Olzawi from the podcast Laughter Permitted. It's been so much fun to watch women's sports just crush it on so many fronts over these past few years, especially. But did you know, even though 84% of fans are interested in watching women's sports, female athletes receive only a fraction of media coverage?
Our friends at Ally believe when we invest in women's sports, we invest in women's futures. So this year they launched their Watch the Game, Change the Game movement with a commitment to equal investment. Yes, you heard that right. Equal investment in women's sports media.
Not sure if you've seen Ally's most recent big move, but they helped get the NWSL Championship game upgraded to prime time on CBS.